We awoke changed. The anomaly unleashed within us, burning with power. Impossible power.
What's going on, guys? OOTIKTAKOO here, and welcome back to another video. It's April 1st, you just downloaded the 100 gigabytes of Outriders, and it's time to finally suit up and dive in. But where the hell do you start? Outriders has a lot going for it, but when a game like this releases, it usually comes with a lot of questions and not a lot of answers because people haven't figured things out yet. Things like what skill tree is best, what are the best guns, which mods to use, and so on and so on. This video right here is to help calm some of your fears and let you know what to expect with each character in terms of survivability, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and who I think personally is the overall best beginning class, especially if you're playing solo. Outriders brings many things to the table: furious and fast combat, explosions, abilities, turrets, and a whole lot more. But with all that mayhem, there's definitely going to be some casualties. So we are going to break down exactly how we can minimize that on our end, and just what each character can do to help keep up the sustain, or possibly even keep the party going. And to talk about sustain, let's talk about healing, and just how every class can do it, because they're all different. Because this isn't your mother's looter shooter, and there ain't no health packs in Outriders. That's right, you saw it. You have to kill things to actually heal in Outriders. A novel concept indeed, and with my time with the game, something they've seemed to get right in most cases. In either case, certain characters definitely have an easier time healing than others, so let's take a look at how each one of those gets some of that juicy health back into their bodies and not splashed all over the rocks. First up, we got the Trickster. In Outriders, it's going to seem like you're always healing. And for the most part, you are, either from your weapon leech or your skill leech, or if you're playing a different character, you use an ability and then they die, you'll receive the healing from that. You're almost always healing in some form. But once you get up in the world tiers, that healing sometimes isn't just enough, and you may have to use each hero's unique way of healing to get a much larger percentage boost to your health. In this case, we have the Trickster. The Trickster's unique healing mechanic is as follows. When his shield is active, you gain 15% damage mitigation, and you heal the player, yourself, for 20% of your max health, and gain 12% shield for each enemy that died at close range. Now, the Trickster is the only character in the game that has one of these shields. It's a blue bar above your health bar, and no one else has anything like that. However, it's pretty minimal, and from the gameplay that I've seen and what I've played, once you get up higher, it doesn't really come into effect. Part of the issue with this is that he has some of the lowest base scaling in terms of health in the game, and only gains damage mitigation when his shield is active. And it only takes a few bullets for that shield to get knocked off of you, and if you're on cooldowns, you're going to be taking a buttload of damage straight on, and it will only take a few bullets to actually take you down. Especially in the higher difficulties, combine that with his close combat, if you decided to go in at the wrong moment to try to get your unique heal off, which is, killing an enemy at close range, and you messed it up somehow, you're basically a sitting duck. It's going to definitely take some finesse to pull a Trickster off in the end game. Next up, we have the Pyromancer. Your Pyromancer is the medium range, well-rounded character from what I've seen, something that can debuff enemies and stay relatively and I use that term loosely, far away from the action, allowing her some breathing room when the bigger enemies come, or, you know, if she gets crowded. With a 15% max health boost and a 10% ability power boost, she's better off killing the enemies before they kill her. And with an only 15% boost to max health and no shield to help damage mitigation, if she doesn't position properly, she's going to be in big trouble. Additionally, your skills mark a damaged enemy for 15 seconds. If you kill that marked enemies, you earn 24% of your health back. Now, in certain scenarios, when there's a bunch of little enemies and you use one of your larger AoE abilities, that can add up to a pretty hefty heal. But again, if you're on cooldowns, you're kind of in trouble. And it's going to take 2 actions where you're going to have to mark the enemy and then kill them. You may end up just not having an ability up at the right moment, and you're going to get taken down. Next up is the big-bodied bully, the Devastator. If you ever wanted to play as the Juggernaut in a looter shooter, then this is your class. He comes in second on our easy survivability / new player / solo player list because of the following. You get a 24% heal for each enemy that died at close range. Plus, you get 25% max health just bonus and 30% armor just bonus. He gains an absurd amount of max health and bonus armor just for being his big old beefy self. You literally don't have to do anything else except play, and you have the highest health scaling in the entire game. Couple that with his insane 30% armor bonus, and the Devastator can take quite the licking before being put down for good. Something else to take notice of is that his heal heals him for 24% health. And since that's a percentage, it couples with his 25% max health that he gets just because. So because of those 2 things, you can end up with some really chunky heals. And lastly, since his heal is 24% of every enemy killed, and he has a ton of AoE abilities, the Devastator will be a safe bet for any new or aspiring Outrider. I also forgot to mention that he has one of the best defensive abilities in the game called Golem Skin. I believe it's called Golem Skin, where you reduce 85% or 65% of incoming damage for like 8 seconds. And that can even come on some of the weapons as mods. You are almost unkillable while that is active. Last but not least, we have the Technomancer, the only true support and my personal pick for the best starting class. The Technomancer does something that no other class comes inherent with, and that is Life Leech. That's right, you heal just for shooting. It's that easy. And since a lot of the Technomancer's abilities are ranged focused, you never really have to be in the fray mixing up with close combat. With his increase to long range weapon damage by 7.5%, increased skill life leech by 15%, and his increased weapon life leech by 15%, you basically have 30% lifesteal as long as you have ammo. You don't have to rely on any of the other things that the other classes do. You don't have to be up close, you don't have to mark an enemy and then possibly kill it. You just continuously heal as you play. But that's not the only reason the Technomancer takes the #1 spot. He is also the only hero in the entire game that comes with what I would call a traditional heal. You push a button and it heals you. It's called Fixing Wave, and it heals yourself and allies at the click of a button. He also can take a few passive perks to increase his healing, such as Medical Unit, which using this gadget skill increases all healing received by you and your party members by 30% for 7 seconds. Or maybe you want to pick up Doctor of Medicine, and that increases all healing by 20% for you and your allies. When it comes to the end game, you're most likely going to want 1 or possibly even 2, most likely 1 Technomancer in your party just for these perks alone. And on top of all of that, the Technomancer has the ability called Cold Snap, which isn't honestly in a lot of games and acts pretty similar here. All it does is you push a button and a very large AoE of ice pops out from where you're standing. That AoE of ice freezes all enemies, allowing you to move, reposition, or even use your Fixing Wave to heal. Both of these things coupled together, plus some of the passive perks you can grab or some legendary armor, makes you almost unkillable. You'll always have a way to escape or run away or reposition or even kill your target before they can even get to you. And if that wasn't enough, if you finally do get your hands on the Technomancer's legendary gear, which can drop in lower tiers, and even in the demo, it's just a lower chance, you can get things such as Cleansing Wind. That's one of the mods in the game. And what that does is when you use Fixing Wave, it removes all negative status effects from you and your allies and grants you 5 seconds of immunity from them. Or you might be able to get something like Head of the Ward. Reviving an ally also fully restores their health, so they're not getting up and being one-shot immediately. Or lastly, you could get something like Quartermaster. Again, if you use Fixing Wave, activating the skill replenishes 1 weapon magazine for each ally, and the cooldown of that is 45 seconds. So you can couple these abilities together with that Healing Wave skill, plus all you have to do is keep shooting to heal yourself, and you can really survive most situations. Until you get to endgame and need a little bit of teamwork, I really do think that the Technomancer is probably the best starting character, and especially if you're playing solo. All in all, the Technomancer frees up a lot of unique things about the characters that not everybody's going to love in the first place. However, don't let that sway you from your choice. He isn't a support player. He's the only one who can do it, but he doesn't have to play that role. You can spec into a different skill tree and just do damage. He just so happens to be able to do those things as well. He has a ton of explosions and rocket launchers and miniguns packed into his ever-rotating arsenal of weapons. Do not worry. So that's my pick for the easiest or best starter character for Outriders. Someone who doesn't rely on needing cooldowns or being close or marking an enemy or all that other stuff that you have to do to get those big beefy heals. Just keep shooting, keep surviving, and keep running. Couple this with his Fixing Wave skill and possible increase to healing passive nodes he's probably the best well-rounded character to try out if you're just getting into Outriders. And that's it for me, guys. Rounded Tic Tac. I will see you guys on another video soon. If you guys like what you see here, maybe give the channel a like or maybe subscribe. Hit the bell. It really does help out. The demo comes out in 3 days. We're going to be streaming it all day at twitch.tv/roundedtictac. If you have any questions or want to see any footage, we would love to see you there. And lastly, if you do like the game and want to pick it up and you're a fan of Epic Game Store, make sure to use my code OOTIKTAKOO on your way out of the store. You really help out the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you on the next one. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Tic Tac out.